thank you. Mr. Rivera, Ross?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon.
That night that we're talking about, you were in the kitchen cooking?
Esa noche de la que estamos hablando, ¿usted estaba en la cocina cocinando?
No,
No.
What were you doing?
¿Qué hacía?
estaba alistando para preparar un café.
¿Un café? I was getting ready to prepare some coffee.
Okay. Were you doing that in a location in the kitchen so that you were facing the back window?
¿Y usted estaba haciendo eso en un lugar de la cocina que quedaba mirando hacia la ventana de la cocina?
Mi cafetera estaba ubicada de tal manera de que la ventana estaba a mi derecha.
Well, the coffee maker was located in such a position that the window was on my right-hand side.
Right inside. So, for my purposes, this is the window.
Así que para propósitos de él, la ventana le queda aquí
Coffee machine over here.
y la cafetera está allá.
Sí,
Yes.
And that's what you were working on?
Y ahí era que usted estaba trabajando.
sí.
Yes.
The first thing you heard was what you identified as cries.
Lo primero que usted escuchó, lo que usted identificó como un llanto.
Sí.
Yes.
May I approach the witness for a moment, Your Honor? We're going to use this again. This is your apartment, correct?
Este es el apartamento suyo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Sí.
This is your porch area?
Y este es el área de la terraza.
Correcto.
Correct.
I see right there a little L-shaped. That's a column, correct?
Y yo veo que aquí hay una columna, una forma de L, que hay una columna, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And we'll get to this in a moment, but you actually reached out over that column to see what you saw later,
Y vamos
correct?
a entrar en más detalles más adelante, pero usted tuvo que
Later.
sobresalirse por encima de esta columna para poder ver lo que estaba pasando más adelante, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
This is the kitchen area,
Este
right
es el área de
here?
la cocina aquí, ¿verdad?
And
Correct.
the window sort of in the center.
Y la ventana queda como en el centro.
Sí.
Yes.
Bushes, the bushes were here?
¿Hay arbustos allá afuera?
Sí, bajitos.
Yes, low.
And there's bushes everywhere here, correct?
Y aquí hay arbustos por todos estos lugares, ¿verdad?
Correcto.
Correct.
Okay. Low, this high?
Bajito
Sí.
como así,
About 3 feet high?
como de 3 pies.
Correcto.
Correct.
With what you heard, you didn't see anything the first time, correct?
Con lo que usted escuchó no vio nada en ese momento por primera vez, ¿verdad?
And what you heard,
I'm sorry.
Correcto,
Yes.
sí.
Correct.
did I not wait? Sorry. And what you heard came from this area,
Y lo que
correct?
usted escuchó vino de esta área.
Definitivo.
Could you
Sorry.
tell, could,
No te puedo escuchar. Could you repeat?
Definitivo, sí.
Definitely.
could you tell how far down the noise came from?
¿Tú pudiste determinar como a qué distancia venía ese ruido?
Son sonidos y no podría predeterminar distancias.
It was just sounds. I was not able to predetermine a distance.
Además, porque no era algo a lo cual estuviera prestando atención, simplemente llegaron
In addition to the
en el
fact that it
momento que
wasn't
yo estaba en
something
la cocina.
that I wasn't paying attention to, it was simply something that reached me while I was working in the kitchen.
Could have been from this area right here, correct?
Pero pudo haber sido de esta área de acá, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
Could have been from this area here, correct?
Y pudo haber sido de esta área más arriba, ¿verdad?
De mi casa para arriba, cualquier punto.
From my house upward in that direction, anywhere.
Thank you. You only heard 2 screams though, correct?
Y tú solamente escuchaste como 2 gritos, ¿verdad?
And I'm sorry, I said screams, you said 2 cries,
Y
correct?
perdóname porque dije gritos, pero tú dijiste que era un llanto.
El sonido que describo como un llanto, sí.
The sound that I have described as a cry, yes.
2.
2.
Sí.
Yes.
You've listened, since that day, you've listened to the 911 calls that have the screams on it, correct?
Luego de esa fecha tú has escuchado una llamada al 911 donde se oye unos llantos, ¿verdad?
Por supuesto.
Of course.
Did any of those screams on the 911 call now to you sound as though they may have been two of the cries that you heard?
¿Alguno de esos gritos que se escuchan en esa llamada al 911 ahora te suena como los llantos que tú escuchaste esa noche?
Podría ser.
It could be.
Okay. On that 911 call that you did listen to, you didn't hear your voice at all, did you?
En esa llamada del 911 que tú escuchaste, no escuchaste la voz tuya en absoluto, ¿verdad?
No es algo que le estuviera prestando mucha atención, la verdad.
Well, it wasn't
Pero
something
no
that I was
nunca.
really paying much attention to, you know?
Pero no nunca.
No, but I never did.
Okay. I'm curious because you said that you yelled to a neighbor across the courtyard.
Me está curioso porque tú mencionaste que tú le gritaste a una vecina que queda al otro lado de este patio.
Correcto.
That's correct.
You didn't hear that on the tape though, did you?
Y eso no lo escuchaste en la grabación de la llamada.
Lo que digo, no he prestado mucha atención al detalle.
Well, as
pero
I
puedo
said-
decir que no.
As I have not paid much attention to those details, but I could say no.
And I'm not saying by that you didn't yell to your neighbor across the way. I'm just saying that having yelled to your neighbor across the way, it just didn't make it onto that tape, did it?
Y yo no estoy diciendo que tú no le hayas gritado a la vecina que queda al otro lado, pero lo que te estoy diciendo es que aún habiéndole gritado a la vecina, eso sencillamente no se escuchó en la grabación.
Depende de cuál grabación, porque no existe solamente una.
Well, that would depend on which recording we're talking about because it's not just one.
Y si hablamos de las que están más lejos de mí, posible y no se escucha. De
And if we're
pronto,
talking about anyone who was further away from me, then it's possible you can't hear it there.
La única que podría haberse cogido más cercano sería la llamada que Mary estaba haciendo.
The only one that could have picked it up from closer was the call that Mary was making.
Correct.
Correcto.
Do you know, just so we're clear, you had yelled to your neighbor before Mary Kutcher got on her call, didn't you?
Pero para que esté claro, ¿tú estás consciente si tú le gritaste a tu vecina antes de que Mary tomara el teléfono?
Todo ha ocurrido tan rápido que no podría yo asegurar eso.
Well, everything happened so quickly that I wouldn't be able to assure you of that.
When you heard the noise that you now know to have been the gunshot, you did not know it was a gunshot then, correct?
Y cuando tú escuchaste el ruido que tú ahora sabes que fue un disparo, tú en ese momento no sabías que había sido un disparo, ¿verdad?
Correcto.
Correct.
I think you said you thought it was like a child's longboard, like a skateboard,
Y tú mencionaste que esto es como un longboard de lo que usan los niños, un skateboard, una
Correcto.
patineta. Yes, correct.
slapping on cement,
Dándole al concreto.
Correcto.
Correct.
and that's what you thought you heard.
Y eso fue lo que tú pensaste que había escuchado.
Así es.
That was so.
Is that because kids play out there sometimes and you've heard noises similar to that in the past
Y
out
eso es
in that
porque a
same
veces,
area?
eso es porque a veces los niños juegan allá afuera y tú has escuchado ruidos de esa clase en esa área.
Así es.
That is so.
So it made more sense that it was a noise from a child than a gunshot, correct?
Así que a ti te hacía más sentido que fuera un ruido de un niño a que fuera un disparo.
Por supuesto.
Of course.
Now, when you did hear that noise, thinking that it was a child, you went to find out what it was, correct?
Y cuando tú escuchaste ese ruido pensando que había sido un niño, tú saliste a ver qué estaba sucediendo.
Así es.
That is so.
Okay. And you left the kitchen area,
Y saliste del área de la cocina,
went to the sliding glass door,
fuiste a la puerta corrediza de cristal.
and that, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was partially open, but you had to open it the rest of the way to go out, correct?
Y ya estaba parcialmente abierta, pero tú tuviste que abrirla por completo para poder salir, ¿verdad?
Estaba abierta de tal manera que yo podía cruzar.
It was open so far that I was able to come across,
Without opening it further.
sin tener que abrirla más.
No.
No.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you to demonstrate for me something,
Voy a pedirte que me demuestres algo.
because I'm wondering if you can tell us, and that I want you to show us in the courtroom, when you heard the noise,
Porque lo que me estoy preguntando y quiero que nos lo demuestres y nos muestres en el sala cómo sería, es que cuando
What
tú escuchaste el ruido,
what you did in the kitchen or with the coffee,
¿qué tú hiciste en la cocina con el café o lo que fuera?
how you left the kitchen,
¿Cómo saliste de la cocina?
got to the sliding glass door,
¿Cómo llegaste a la puerta corrediza de cristal?
got through it,
¿La pasaste?
got to the patio,
Llegaste al patio
and looked down.
y miraste en aquella
Can you do
dirección.
that?
¿Lo puedes hacer?
Por supuesto.
Of course.
Your Honor, I would ask that the witness step down.
Te voy a pedir que pases entonces al frente y hagas la demostración.
As we do this, I'm going to presume that you were not wearing high heels.
Voy a asumir que esa noche no llevaba puesto taco.
I either apologize for asking you to do it in high heels, or I suggest that you take them off.
Te voy a pedir excusas si lo quieres hacer en los tacos altos o si te quieres quitar los zapatos.
So, to set this up, I need your help.
Porque
To
para
tell me
establecerlo necesito tu ayuda.
where the, whatever area, kitchen if it works, sliding glass door if it works,
Tú
you
escoge el área.
set the stage and tell us where you were and then what you did and what you had to get around to do it,
Tú
okay?
preparas la escena, lo que tú quieras escoger como si fuera la cocina, como queda el área de donde está la puerta corrediza, donde está la terraza. Tú preparas la escena y entonces nos describes qué fue lo que tú hiciste.
Lo más parecido a la arquitectura
Well,
de
the most
los-
similar to our architecture
es que la puerta podría estar en este sector.
would be that the sliding door could be in this area.
Aquí. Este
Like
es el
here.
sliding
This
door.
is the sliding glass door,
Exacto.
Exactly.
okay?
Column.
The
Column.
column.
So,
And,
here is the
excuse me?
column.
And then you go out and look that way, correct?
Entonces tú saliste y miraste en esa
Okay.
dirección.
This is the kitchen.
Column. Just, I don't want to be the one testifying, so you do it,
Si lo puedes hacer tú porque
Here
no
is the
quieres.
kitchen.
okay?
They have it like perdón.
Either way, you can say it in English and you're comfortable, tell
Aquí
us.
está el mesón.
This is where the counter is.
So, si este es el mesón,
There, you have the counter here.
aquí está hacia el otro lado. Esto está, hay un muro.
And there's a wall here on the other
Yes.
side.
Y este es el área de trabajo donde está el zinc.
And this would be the work area where we have the sink
Correct.
and the window.
Okay,
Esta es mi posición.
And this was my position.
correct. So, here's what I'm going to do. As close to the speed as you think you did.
Así que lo que voy a hacer
Don't
es que a
rush
la velocidad, lo más cercano a la velocidad que tú
it.
piensas
Don't
que lo
rush it
hiciste.
and don't go slow.
O sea, no quiero que lo hagas demasiado rápido ni que tampoco muy lento.
I'm going to clap my hands.
Pero él va a hacer.
And if you looked at the window when you heard the noise, I want you to look at the window. If you had a cup of coffee in your hand, I want you to put it down. You tell me what you did and do it in the timing as best you can that you did it, okay?
El agua ya estaba en la cafetera.
The water was already in the coffee maker.
Coloqué el vaso.
And I put the cup.
En ese momento estaban los llantos.
And at that moment, I heard the cries.
Okay, you.
Terminé de colocar
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you for a second. The point that I'm at is when you heard the noise,
El
not
punto que yo
the, not
te-
the cries.
El punto que te
okay?
quiero llevar es cuando tú escuchaste el ruido, no el llanto.
sonido.
The sound,
Gorro.
I ran,
Cross. And I grabbed the column. Cogí la columna.
I held onto the column,
Okay,
Hice así.
and I went like this.
okay.
Agarraba la columna.
I went like that to
Right.
look around.
And I'm going to have to ask you to do it again.
Te voy a pedir que lo hagas otra vez.
Because I just want to make sure that the jury has a chance now that they know what you're doing, to just watch you do it one more time in about the time that you did it.
Porque quiero estar seguro de que ahora que el jurado sabe qué es lo que estamos haciendo, que ellos puedan medir el tiempo y ver la
La
posibilidad.
otra persona que estaba en la cocina era Mary.
Well, the other person who was in the kitchen with me was Mary.
Okay?
Estaba de este lado.
She was right on this side,
De costado.
like reclining.
Okay.
Escucho el sonido.
I heard the noise,
Corro.
I ran,
Cruzo.
I went across,
And grab.
and I peered.
Great. And then when you peered out, you looked. Thank you very much.
Muy bien, gracias.
You heard the noise.
¿Tú escuchaste el ruido?
It took the time that it took you to get out, as we did, and then you looked down, and that's when you saw the people in the area that you've talked about already,
Tú
correct?
tomaste el tiempo que te tomó en salir, dar la vuelta, cruzar, salir afuera, Y entonces miraste en la dirección y ahí fue, cuando miraste en la dirección donde escuchaste el ruido, ahí fue que viste a las personas que tú dices que viste.
Correcto.
That's correct.
And I think you said at that point, was it still dark?
Y me parece que dijiste que en ese momento estaba oscuro todavía.
And I think that
Yes, correct.
I think you testified that you could not see very well, correct?
Me parece que testificaste que no podías ver muy bien.
La poca luz que había de las casas no permitía ver con claridad, pero se veían los
Well, what little light there was from the different houses did not allow you to see clearly, but you could still see
la silueta.
the silhouettes, the shapes.
Yes. And the silhouettes you saw, I think you testified to, was that there was a person crouching down over another person?
Y las siluetas que tú dijiste que viste fue una persona agachada sobre otra persona.
Correcto.
Correct.
And did that person, you're looking from the back perspective, you'll see his back, is that
Tú estabas
correct?
mirando de una perspectiva de la espalda de él.
Yeah.
Tú estabas mirando la espalda.
So you see that person like this, correct? Not on his knees, but standing like this,
Tú ves a la
correct?
persona así, no que estaba de rodillas, sino así parado de cuclillas.
Me parece más que es siempre dicho porque vi más la parte de las rodillas en el piso.
Well,
Los
I have always
brazos,
said, it seems to me more that what I saw was the person with the knees on the ground.
ujú,
The person on top with knees on the ground.
La persona que estaba arriba tenía las rodillas en el suelo.
sí.
Yes.
And you said that they had their hands on the person who was underneath?
Y tú dices que tenían las manos sobre la persona que estaba abajo.
Tiene que tenerlas en alguna parte, en alguna posición de la otra persona.
He must have had
describir
it-
lo que estaba haciendo.
He must have had it in some part, on some part of the other person, because of what the person was doing,
Por el equilibrio más.
in order to maintain a balance.
Okay. The way he was leaning over?
La forma en que estaba reclinado hacia el frente.
Correcto.
Did
Correct.
you also say that you thought he did something with his pocket?
Me parece que mencionaste algo del bolsillo.
Nunca.
No, no.
Did you say that in deposition? That you thought that he had done something with putting something near his pocket?
Absolutamente no.
No, absolutely not.
Then the person who was on top, could you see if they were moving, the person on the bottom is moving their hands or their arms at all?
I'm
Could you
sorry,
see
Counsel.
that?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. Person on top, could you see if that person on top was moving the hands or the arms of the person on the bottom?
La persona que estaba arriba, tú no pudiste distinguir si estaba moviéndole los brazos a la persona que estaba abajo.
No.
No.
And the person on top did not respond to the first two times that you called to him, correct?
Y la persona que estaba arriba no respondió las primeras dos veces que tú lo llamaste, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
And then the third time he said, just call the police.
Y la tercera vez lo que dijo fue solamente llama a la policía.
Correcto.
Call the police. Correct.
And he then got up, correct?
Y entonces se levantó, se paró.
Correcto.
And you said he
Correct.
was walking around.
Y tú dices que caminaba.
Caminó en dirección de los botes de basura y regresó
He walked
hacia
in
el cuerpo.
the direction of the trash cans, and then he returned to the body.
Puedo asumir que lo hizo tal vez unas 2, 3 veces antes de que apareciera la persona con el flashlight.
And I would assume that he did it about 2 or 3 times before this person with the flashlight showed up.
And he was putting his hand on his head.
Y se estaba poniendo la mano en la cabeza.
Correcto.
Correct.
How did he look to you? What did he look like he was doing?
¿Cómo se veía? O sea, ¿qué te pareció a ti que estaba haciendo?
No es cuestión de yo opinar, ¿verdad?
Well, it's not a matter of me giving an opinion.
Pero, permiso,
So,
Excuse me.
pero tenía una mano en su cabeza.
But he had one hand on his head.
Puedo asumir que en una posición tal vez como preocupado.
I would
Podría
assume,
expresar así.
like in a position like a person who's concerned.
Just a moment, if I might, Your Honor. Was he acting as though he was confused?
¿Estaba actuando como una persona confundida?
No lo entiendo así.
Not to my understanding.
Do you remember in a deposition we asked a question
¿Tú recuerdas que en una deposición te hicieron una pregunta?
Your impression that he might be confused about what just happened?
Sobre si te dio la impresión a ti de que él podía estar confundido de lo que acababa de suceder.
Es posible que sí sea.
It's possible that was so, yes.
And do you remember your answer?
¿Y recuerda lo que contestaste?
He mencionado que para mí él estaba en tono sí como preocupado.
Well, I have mentioned that for me, I would think he was acting like concerned.
Sort of like he couldn't believe what just happened?
That's called for speculation.
Well, then I'll approach with her answer to the deposition, if I might.
If she needs it to refresh her
Sure,
recollection.
I'll do that. So if I might approach the witness, let me do this and show you, this is the deposition that we took of you.
Déjame mostrarte porque esta fue la deposición que te tomamos.
Focus your attention on page 25.
Voy a traer tu atención a la página 25.
Starting with line 6. Let's start there.
Comenzando con la línea 6, vamos
So
a
if
empezar
you
por ahí.
would. Have you had a chance to review that?
¿Ya tuviste la oportunidad
Sí.
de revisarlo? Yes.
In that statement, you say, how would you, the question being, did you see him go back towards the body? Yes. And how would you describe?
This still is calm for speculation.
While it may be speculation, Your Honor, she testified to it in her deposition. I'm refreshing her recollection. I want to now
Well-
question her about that.
Well, but the proper way to refresh somebody's recollection is to say, have you now read it? Does that refresh her recollection? And see if it gives her an ability to give an answer.
Okay, then I'll just answer that way. In response to a question, how would you...
Ask her if that has, by reading that, has that refreshed her recollection?
I thought I did that at the bench, but I'll do it
No, you
again.
didn't.
Did that refresh your recollection in what you said in your deposition?
¿Con esto te refresca la memoria de lo que dijiste en la deposición?
Sí.
Okay. Now, so let me ask you, Ken, how would you describe his behavior?
Déjame.
Again, I object to the calm for speculation.
Well, is her description overruled?
Yes. How would you describe how he acted?
¿Cómo describirías tu comportamiento? ¿Cómo actuó él?
Si no más recuerdo, acabo de decirlo en español que como de una manera preocupante.
Well, if I remember correctly, and I have just mentioned it a little while ago too, he was acting like in a concerned manner. I mean,
Realmente es de una manera como que pasó confuso.
well, it really, in a way, like what just happened, like confused.
Okay?
En mis palabras pudiera utilizar muchas otras para describir exactamente la misma manera en la que se pudo apreciar
And-
desde mi punto de vista.
In my own words, I could probably use a lot of other words to describe, from my point of view, what it appeared like.
Is it accurate to say that he looked confused to you?
Pero sería justo decir que a ti te pareció confundido.
Podría ser.
It could be.
And that he walked away from the body and he walked towards the dog. And did you say he had his hand here? You said here at one point. Also here, correct?
Y tú dices que tenía las manos acá, allá.
la silueta, las sombras.
from the silhouettes and the shadows.
Definitivamente una mano estaba tocando su cabeza
He definitely had one hand touching his head,
y la otra en la parte de sus caderas.
and the other one was around the waist.
Was it like this, somewhere here or here?
Pero era aquí, en algún lugar aquí o acá,
And a hand over here?
y una mano acá,
And walking?
y caminando.
Pacing, you said?
Tú dices que caminaba hacia adelante y hacia atrás.
Caminó en dirección, regresó, volvió a caminar, volvió a regresar, caminó, el hombre de la luz apareció.
He walked in that direction, came back, then he walked in that direction again, came back again, and then he walked in that direction, and the man with the flashlight turned up.
Walked up, walked back, walked up, walked back, walked up, and the man with the flashlight came?
Dice que él caminó hacia allá, volvió, caminó hacia allá, volvió, caminó hacia allá, y ahí fue que apareció el hombre del flashlight.
Correcto.
Correct.
Was that part of what led you to believe he was acting confused?
¿Eso fue parte de lo que te hizo pensar a ti que él estaba actuando como confundido?
Puede ser.
It could be. Ajá.
I think you were asked if you had known George Zimmerman before that night. Had you?
Y te tengo que preguntar si tú habías conocido a George Zimmerman antes de esa noche. ¿Lo habías conocido?
Nunca.
Never.
Did you ever, when the man with the flashlight was there, did that flashlight allow you to get a better look at who you now know to be George Zimmerman?
Cuando llegó allí el hombre con el flashlight, ¿esa luz del flashlight te permitió ver mejor a esta persona que ahora tú sabes que era George Zimmerman?
No.
No.
Never saw him again that night or
¿No lo volviste a ver ni esa noche ni nunca más?
that
A
night?
la persona de la
Esa
luz
noche.
o al Zimmerman.
You mean the person with the flashlight or Zimmerman?
George Zimmerman.
A Zimmerman.
Nunca lo he visto en persona,
I've never-
solamente en las fotografías que se han expuesto de él.
I've never seen him in person. I've just seen the photographs that have been shown of him.
On TV and whatnot. Could you ever see him good enough when he was leaning over the body or when he stood up to see any blood on the back of his head?
¿En algún momento lo pudiste ver suficientemente bien cuando estaba recostado, reclinado sobre el cuerpo o cuando estaba parado y caminando como para poder ver que había sangre en su cabeza?
No.
No.
How about any blood on his nose as he was walking back those 2 times that you saw him walk back?
O sangre en la nariz cuando venía caminando de regreso, en esas 2 ocasiones que tú dices que lo viste caminando de regreso.
Como dije en el principio, estaba tan oscuro que las pocas luces no permitían describir con precisión.
Like I said from the beginning, it was so dark that what little light there was would not allow you to determine the details and precision.
Oh, just a moment, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Thank you. Redirect.
Yes, ma'am, just briefly.
Ms. Mora, do you have any idea what was going on in that man's mind when he was walking around back and forth to the body and to the receptacle?
¿Tú tienes la menor idea de qué estaba pasando por la mente de ese señor cuando estaba caminando, yendo y viniendo del cuerpo al zapacón, al basurero?
No puedo, no me siento en la capacidad de yo poner palabras sobre lo
Well,
que
I
estamos
can't. I don't feel capable of putting words into his mouth or his thoughts.
All right. Ms. Mora, let me ask you to look at the screen again, stage 37. Judge, could you just hit this one more time?
Te voy a pedir que
Thank
mires
you
la
so
pantalla.
much. And Judge, I don't know if I referred to this as stage 37 the first time I showed it to her, so I'll do that now for the record.
Y no sé
Ms.
si-
Mora,
37.
Do the bushes I've circled, although not the ones in front of your or behind your residence, are those the same height as the one behind your residence?
estos arbustos que se ven aquí, que se mencionó que hay unos detrás de tu residencia, estos que están aquí son como de la misma altura de los de tu residencia.
Exactamente, y también la división plástica que hay entre arbusto.
They're exactly the same, as well as that plastic divider that there is between the bushes and
La otra casa.
the porch
Sí.
All right.
on the side.
And the columns behind your residence, are they the same as the columns on the rest of the neighbors' yards?
Y las columnas que hay en tu residencia son iguales que las columnas que hay en los demás patios de los demás residentes.
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. May Ms. Mora be excused?
She may? Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. You are excused.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to recess for the evening. We'll start again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And before we recess, I'm going to give you my instructions again. During the overnight, you are not to discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anybody else. You're not to read or listen to any radio, television, or newspaper reports about the case. You're not to use any type of an electronic device to get on the internet to do independent research about the case, people, places, things, or terminology. And you're not to read or create any emails, text messages, Twitters, tweets, blogs, or social networking pages about the case. Do I have your assurance that you will abide by these instructions? Okay, with that, put your notepads down, follow Deputy Jarvis. Have a good evening. Mr. Guy? Thank you. Is there anything that you may be seated, is there anything that we need to take up before we recess for the evening? From the defense?
We did have this one matter I wanted to try before we earlier we contest with the deposition of the witness. The deposition was taken, although it was not able to be taken with defense counsel and the client present. I'm awaiting the recording of that to provide to counsel. It's possible that we'll be able to have that issue resolved further. I want to update you on the status. We got it almost all the way done. I'm going to hand them the videotape later today.
Okay, well, let me know the progress of that. Anything else?
Just could you know when he's leaving?
He is gone, and that's the reason it had to be taken when it did. Is he left for 6 weeks hiking in the New Mexico desert. Although there is a possibility that he will be potentially reachable by Skype, depending on when they try to get in touch with him if that becomes necessary.
Okay, well, if you'll let me know how that progresses. Anything further?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Court is in recess till 9 a.m.
Entrar en más detalle más adelante, pero usted tuvo que sobresalirse por encima de esta columna para poder ver lo que estaba pasando más adelante, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
This is the kitchen area?
Este es el área de la cocina aquí, ¿verdad? Correct.
And the window sort of in the center.
Y la ventana queda como en el centro.
Sí.
Yes.
Bushes, the bushes were here?
¿Hay arbustos ahí afuera?
Sí, bajitos.
Yes, low.
And there's bushes everywhere here, correct?
Y aquí hay arbustos por todos estos lugares, ¿verdad?
Correcto.
Correct.
Okay. Low, this high?
Bajito
Sí.
como así,
About 3 feet high?
como de 3 pies.
Correcto.
Correct.
With what you heard, you didn't see anything the first time, correct?
Con lo que usted escuchó no vio nada en ese momento por primera vez, ¿verdad?
And what you heard,
I'm sorry.
Correcto,
Yes.
sí.
Correct.
did I not wait? Sorry. And what you heard came from this area,
Y lo que
correct?
usted escuchó vino de esta área.
Definitivo.
Could you
Sorry.
tell, could,
No te pude escuchar. Could you repeat?
Definitivo, sí.
Definitely.
could you tell how far down?
Well, the coffee maker was located in such a position that the window was on my right-hand side.
Right inside. So, for my purposes, this is the window,
Así que para propósitos de él, la ventana le queda aquí
coffee machine over here,
y la cafetera está allá.
Sí.
and that's
Yes.
what you were working on?
Y ahí era que usted estaba trabajando.
Sí.
Yes.
The first thing you heard was what you identified as cries,
Lo primero que usted escuchó, lo que usted identificó como un lloriqueo, como un llanto.
Sí.
Yes.
May I approach the witness for a moment, Your Honor? We're going to use this again. This is your apartment, correct?
Este es el apartamento suyo, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Yes.
sí,
This is your porch area?
Y este es el área de la terraza.
correcto.
Correct.
I see right there a little L-shaped. That's a column, correct?
Y yo veo que aquí hay una columna, una forma de L, que hay una columna, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Yes.
And we'll get to this in a moment, but you actually reached out over that column to see what you saw later,
Y
correct?
vamos a...
Thank you. Mr. Rivera, Ross?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes.
buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
That night that we're talking about, you were in the kitchen cooking?
Esa noche de la que estamos hablando, ¿usted estaba en la cocina cocinando?
No,
No.
What were you doing?
¿Qué hacía?
estaba alistando para preparar un café.
Perdón. ¿Un café? I was getting ready to prepare some coffee.
Okay. Were you doing that in a location in the kitchen so that you were facing the back window?
¿Y usted estaba haciendo eso en un lugar de la cocina que quedaba mirando hacia la ventana de la cocina?
Mi cafetera está ubicada de tal manera de que la ventana estaba a mi derecha.
The noise came from?
¿Tú pudiste determinar como a qué distancia venía ese ruido?
Son sonidos y no podría predeterminar distancias.
It was just sounds. I was not able to predetermine a distance.
Además, porque no era algo a lo cual estuviera prestando atención, simplemente llegaron
In addition to the
en el
fact that it
momento que
wasn't
yo estaba en la
something
cocina.
that I wasn't paying attention to, it was simply something that reached me while I was working in the kitchen.
Could have been from this area right here, correct?
Pero pudo haber sido de esta área de acá, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
Could have been from this area here, correct?
Y pudo haber sido de esta área más arriba, ¿verdad?
De mi casa para arriba, cualquier punto.
From my house upward in that direction, anywhere.
Thank you. You only heard two screams though, correct?
Y tú solamente escuchaste como dos gritos, ¿verdad?
And I'm sorry, I said screams, you said two cries,
Y
correct?
perdóname porque dije gritos, pero tú dijiste que era un llanto.
El sonido que describo como un llanto, sí.
The sound that I have described as a cry, yes.
Two.
Dos.
Sí.
Yes.
You've listened, since that day, you've listened to the 911 calls that have the screams on it, correct?
Luego de esa fecha, tú has escuchado una llamada al 911 donde se oyen unos llantos, ¿verdad?
Por supuesto.
Of course.
Did any of those screams on the 911 call now to you sound as though they may have been two of the cries that you heard?
¿Alguno de esos gritos que se escuchan en esa llamada al 911 ahora te suena como los llantos que tú escuchaste esa noche?
Podría ser.
It could be.
Okay. On that 911 call that you did